I never imagined a bottle of water would become the moment that changed everything. That night, Madison and I attended a company networking event together. The ballroom was packed with employees and clients. Everyone seemed excited to make connections and celebrate another successful quarter. I was not feeling great. I had skipped lunch to finish a project deadline, and the lack of food was finally catching up to me. I walked over to Madison. "Hey, Maddie." She glanced at me while typing on her phone. "What?" "I'm feeling a little dizzy. Could you grab me a bottle of water?" She barely looked up. "Lucas, I'm busy. It'll only take a second." "Then go get it yourself." I blinked. "Seriously?" "Yes, seriously. You're a grown man." I forced a smile. "Right. Sorry." She returned to her phone without another word. The conversation stung more than I expected. Not because she refused, because of how quickly she dismissed me. I walked away and tried to shake it off. Maybe she was stressed. Maybe I was overthinking. For the next 20 minutes, I spoke with a few coworkers and tried to focus on the event. Then I saw Brandon Pierce, and everything changed. Brandon stood near one of the company displays, talking with several employees. I watched Madison notice him from across the room. She smiled immediately. Then she hurried toward him. At first, I thought nothing of it, until Brandon rubbed the back of his neck and said something. Madison's expression filled with concern. She nodded. Then she practically jogged to the refreshment table. A minute later, she returned carrying a cold bottle of water. She handed it to him with both hands. "Here, drink this." Brandon laughed. "You're a lifesaver. Have you had anything to drink tonight?" "Not much." "Well, start with that." "I'll survive." "No, drink it." He smiled and opened the bottle. I stood frozen. Just 30 minutes earlier, I had asked for the same thing. The exact same thing. And she had told me to get it myself. Something heavy settled in my chest. I spent the rest of the evening pretending I was fine. But I wasn't. Not even close. When we got back to her apartment, I finally brought it up. "Can I ask you something?" Madison kicked off her shoes. "Sure. Why did you get Brandon water tonight?" She frowned. "What kind of question is that?" "The kind I'm asking." He looked thirsty. I laughed once. So did I. Her eyes narrowed. "Oh my God. What? You're seriously upset about a bottle of water?" "It wasn't the water." "Then what is it?" I struggled to explain it. "I asked you for help. And you brushed me off." She crossed her arms. "Lucas, you are making a huge deal out of nothing." "I don't think I am." "You are." I stared at her. "Do you know how it felt watching you rush to help him after telling me no?" Madison laughed. Actually laughed. The sound hit harder than any insult. "You can't be serious." "I am serious." "You're insecure." I looked away. "Maybe." "No. Definitely." "Or maybe I'm tired of feeling like I come second." Her smile disappeared. "Second to who?" "You know who." "Brandon." I said nothing. Madison rolled her eyes. "This again." "What do you mean again?" "You've always been weird about him." "Because you treat him differently." "That's ridiculous." "Is it?" "Yes." I wanted to keep arguing. Instead, I grabbed my jacket. "Where are you going?" "Home." "You're leaving because of this?" I paused at the door. "No." "Then why?" "Because I don't think this is really about tonight." She stared at me. For the first time, she seemed uncertain. I left before she could answer. The next day, I met my cousin Noah for coffee. The second I sat down, he knew something was wrong. "You look awful." "Thanks." "I'm serious." I sighed. "Madison and I had a fight." "What happened?" I told him everything. The water. The argument. The laugh. Noah listened quietly. When I finished, he leaned back in his chair. "You're focusing on the wrong thing." "What do you mean?" "The water isn't the problem." "Then what is?" "The pattern." I frowned. "What pattern?" "Come on, Lucas." I stayed silent. Noah shook his head. "Think about the last 6 months." I did. And suddenly memories started appearing. One after another. Times I had ignored. Times I had excused. Times I had convinced myself were normal. "Remember when you were sick?" Noah asked. I nodded slowly. "She canceled plans with you." "She had work." "Then she spent 3 hours helping Brandon prepare a presentation." I swallowed. Noah continued. "What about your birthday dinner?" "I remember that too." Madison spent most of the night texting Brandon about office drama. At the time, she said it was important. I believed her. "What else?" Noah asked. I didn't answer, because now I was remembering things he had not even mentioned. The way she smiled at Brandon's jokes. The patience she gave him, the kindness she showed him, the attention she offered without being asked. Things she rarely gave me anymore. Noah watched my face carefully. You see it now, don't you? I nodded. Yeah. The water was just the moment you finally noticed. I looked down at my coffee. For months, I had been telling myself everything was fine. For months, I had ignored every warning sign, because admitting the truth felt worse. But now I could not unsee it. The bottle of water had not broken my relationship. It had broken my illusion. And for the first time in 3 years, I found myself wondering whether Madison still loved me at all. After the event, I started paying attention instead of making excuses. Madison constantly prioritized Brandon's feelings while treating my concerns as inconveniences. She answered his messages immediately, but often left mine unread for hours. She canceled dates because Brandon needed help with work projects. Even my best friend Lucas Bennett admitted he had noticed the imbalance long ago, but did not know how to tell me. Meanwhile, Madison's younger sister Chloe Reed quietly apologized one day and admitted Madison often talked about Brandon at home. That conversation shook me deeply. For the first time, I questioned whether I was actually in a relationship or simply occupying a space Madison no longer valued. When I tried discussing my feelings calmly, she accused me of being controlling. The argument ended with Madison saying, "You're really upset over a bottle of water." I stayed silent, because I knew explaining the truth would require unpacking years of disappointment, neglect, and emotional disrespect. And I was not sure she wanted to hear it. That night, I sat on my bed staring at my phone. Madison texted me asking why I left early. I did not reply. My phone kept lighting up with her messages. Lucas Bennett called me the next morning. I answered without thinking. He sounded worried. "Bro, are you okay?" he asked. "I am fine," I said, but my voice was not convincing. "You do not sound fine," he replied. I stayed quiet for a moment. "Everything feels off," I said. "Is this about Madison?" he asked. "Yes," I said. "What happened now?" he said. I told him everything again. He went silent for a moment. Then he spoke softly. "You have been ignoring this for too long." "I know," I said. "I feel stupid for not seeing it earlier." "You are not stupid," he said. "You were hopeful. That is different." I stayed quiet again. Later that evening, I met Chloe Reed at the campus cafe. She looked nervous when she saw me. "Is Madison okay?" I asked. She hesitated before answering. "Not really," she said. "What do you mean?" I asked. "She talks about Brandon a lot at home," she said. "She rarely mentions you anymore." I felt my chest tighten. "Are you sure?" I asked. "Yes," she said quietly. "I think you deserve to know," she added. I nodded slowly. Later, I walked alone through the city streets. I kept replaying everything in my mind. Every moment made more sense now. Madison calling Brandon first. Madison ignoring my needs. Madison laughing at my concerns. It all felt clearer and heavier. I stopped near a bridge and looked at the water below. I whispered to myself, "Is this what I have become?" A voice inside me answered nothing. I closed my eyes for a moment. Then I realized something important. Madison called me that night. I answered reluctantly. "Where are you?" she asked. "I'm outside," I said. "Why are you acting strange?" she asked. "I'm not acting strange," I said. "Yes, you are," she said. "We need to talk," I said. "About what?" she asked. "About us," I said. She stayed silent. Then she sighed. "Are you still upset about that water thing?" she asked. "No," I said. Then what? She asked. "Everything," I said. "Explain," she said. "I cannot keep pretending," I said. "Pretending what?" she asked. "That I do not see it," I said. "See what?" she asked. "How you treat me differently," I said. "That is not true," she said. I stayed silent. "You are imagining things," she added. I felt my hand shake. I looked at the night sky. I spoke softly. "Maybe I have been imagining it," I said. "There is nothing wrong here," she said. I did not answer. She continued talking, but I stopped listening. I sat down on a bench nearby. I felt exhausted inside. My phone vibrated again. It was Madison texting me. I did not open the message. I thought about Noah words. I thought about Chloe words. I thought about Lucas Bennett words. Everything felt connected now. I stood up slowly. I made a decision. I knew I could not continue like this. I walked toward my apartment. I called Madison back. She answered quickly. "Where are you?" she asked again. "I am coming to talk," I said. "About what?" she asked. "About everything," I said. She sounded annoyed. "You are overreacting," she said. "Maybe," I said. But I need answers, I said. There is nothing to answer, she said. I reached my building. I stopped at the entrance. I heard my heart beating loudly. Then I saw something that made me freeze. Madison was there, but she was not alone. She was standing with Brandon. They were talking closely. My chest tightened again. Madison saw me. Her expression changed. "What are you doing here?" she asked. "I came to talk," I said. "Now?" she said. "Yes, now," I said. Brandon stepped back. "This is not a good time," Madison said. "It is the perfect time," I said. "We need to be honest," I said. "About what?" she asked. "About everything," I said. I looked at both of them, and I finally said what I had been holding inside. "I am done pretending this is normal." Silence filled the air. Madison stared at me. Brandon looked away. Madison opened her mouth, but no words came out. I took a step back, and I realized I was not the same person anymore. I turned and walked away. Madison called my name, but I did not stop, because something inside me had finally broken free. I kept walking until her voice faded behind me. I did not know where I was going, only that I could not go back anymore. Everything I believed and felt different now, and I finally understood the truth I had avoided. It was never about water at all. It was about everything I ignored for years, and I was done pretending. I walked away forever. Over the next few weeks, something inside me changed. I stopped chasing Madison's attention. I stopped initiating every conversation. I stopped fighting for someone who seemed increasingly comfortable taking me for granted. At first, Madison did not notice. Or maybe she did, but chose to ignore it. One evening, she knocked on my apartment door. I opened it and saw her standing there with a sharp look. "What is going on with you?" she asked. I leaned on the door frame. "Nothing," I said. "Do not lie to me," she said. I stayed quiet. She pushed past me and walked inside. "You have been distant," she said. I closed the door. "I'm just tired," I said. "Tired of what?" she asked. I looked at her. "Tired of repeating myself," I said. She crossed her arms. "Repeating what?" she asked. I took a breath. "Everything," I said. She frowned. "That is not an answer," she said. I sat on the couch. "It is the only answer I have," I said. Madison stared at me. "You are acting like I did something wrong," she said. I nodded slowly. "You did," I said. She laughed a little. "About the water again?" she asked. I shook my head. "No," I said. Then what? She asked. I looked at her for a long moment. "Years," I said. She blinked. "What?" she said. "Years," I said again. I stood up. "You want to know what changed?" I said. She nodded. "Then listen," I said. I started pacing. "It was not the water," I said. She stayed silent. "It was everything," I said. Like what? She asked. I stopped and faced her. "Miss birthdays," I said. She opened her mouth. "Cancel plans," I said. "Ignored messages," I said. "Moments when I needed you and you were not there," I said. Madison shook her head. "That is not true," she said. "It is," I said. She stepped closer. "I was busy," she said. I laughed once. "Always busy," I said. She looked confused. "With Brandon," she said softly. I nodded. "Yes," I said. She frowned harder. "This is not fair," she said. I looked at her. "What is not fair?" I asked. She hesitated. "You making it sound like I do not care," she said. I took a step closer. "Do you care?" I asked. She did not answer. Silence filled the room. I continued. "Every time I needed you," I said. "You were somewhere else," I said. She whispered. "That is not how it was," she said. "Then explain," I said. She looked away. I waited. She said nothing. I nodded slowly. "That is what I thought," I said. Madison's voice shook. "I do not know what it felt like," that she said. I stopped moving. "Exactly," I said. She looked at me. "So what now?" she asked. I took a deep breath. "I think we're done," I said. Her eyes widened. What? She said. I looked at her. "I cannot keep doing this," I said. She stepped back. "You are really breaking up with me?" she asked. I stayed quiet for a moment. Then I nodded. "Yes," I said. She shook her head. "Over a bottle of water," she said. I closed my eyes for a second. "No," I said. "Then why?" she asked. I looked at her. "Because every time I needed you," I said. "Someone else came first," I said. Madison stood frozen. I could see her breathing change. "That is not fair," she said quietly. I looked at her. "I'm not trying to be fair," I said. "I'm telling the truth," I said. She shook her head. "You never told me," she said. "I did," I said. "You never listened," I said. She stepped closer. "I did listen," she said. "Then why did nothing change?" I asked. She did not answer. Her eyes were wet now. "You are really leaving?" she said. I nodded. "Yes," I said. She whispered my name. Lucas, she said. I felt something break inside me. But I stayed still. I cannot keep hoping, I said. Hoping for what she asked. For you to choose me, I said. Silence filled the room again. Madison looked down. I never meant to hurt you, she said. I know, I said. But you did, I said. She covered her face with her hands. I waited. She looked up again. What about us, she asked. I shook my head. There is no us left, I said. She stepped back slowly. You are really serious, she said. I am, I said. She laughed weakly. All this time, she said. Yes, I said. I picked myself last, I said. She looked away. I felt tired inside. I walked to the door. Wait, she said. I stopped, but did not turn. Please, she said. I turned slightly. I'm sorry, she said. I nodded. I know, I said. But sorry is not enough, I said. She cried quietly now. I felt it, but I did not move. I opened the door. Madison spoke again. Was I really that bad, she asked. I paused. No, I said. You were not bad, I said. Just not there for me, I said. She closed her eyes. I stepped outside. The air felt cold. I heard her voice one last time. Lucas, please, she said. I did not look back. I walked away. Each step felt heavier and lighter at the same time. I realized something inside me was finally free. I was not angry anymore. I was just done. I kept walking into the night, and I did not stop. After that night, I did not go back. I stayed away from everything that reminded me of her. I focused on myself for the first time in years. I finally understood what peace meant without her. I did not look back even once, and for the first time, I felt like I was choosing myself instead of being chosen last, and that was enough for me. The months after the breakup were difficult but necessary. I focused on rebuilding my confidence, reconnecting with family, and learning how much emotional energy I had wasted trying to earn basic respect. Lucas helped me through the hardest days, while a new coworker, Emma Collins, showed me what healthy friendship looked like without drama or manipulation. Meanwhile, Madison's life slowly became more complicated. Brandon transferred to another city after receiving a promotion, leaving her without the person she had prioritized for years. For the first time, she was forced to confront the damage she had caused. One evening, Madison asked to meet. She looked exhausted and emotionally vulnerable. Through tears, she finally admitted she understood what I had been trying to tell her. She apologized sincerely and asked whether there was any chance we could start over. I listened quietly before shaking my head. I was not angry anymore, but I had already moved forward. As I walked away, I realized something important. Relationships rarely end because of one dramatic moment. They end because hundreds of small moments slowly teach someone they are no longer valued. And by the time that lesson is understood, it is often too late. Lucas helped me stay grounded during the hardest weeks. He said, Lucas, are you eating properly? I said, I am fine. He said, you never say that when you are fine. I said, I just need time. Lucas said time is fine, but you are disappearing inside yourself. I said, I am not disappearing, I am learning. He said, that sounds the same to me. I did not answer. I met Emma Collins at work during a project meeting. She said, you always look like you are carrying too much. I said, I guess I am. She said, you do not have to do everything alone. I said, I am used to it. She said, that is not a reason to keep suffering. I stayed quiet. Emma said, if you ever need someone to talk to, I am here. Madison's life became worse after Brandon transferred. She started texting me again. I did not reply. She called me multiple times. I ignored her calls. Lucas said, you are stronger now. I said, I'm just tired. One evening, Madison asked me to meet her at a cafe. I said, I will come. When I arrived, she already looked broken. She said, please sit down. I said, okay. She said, I've been thinking about everything. I said, I have too. She said, I finally understand what you meant. I said, I'm glad you do. She said, I'm sorry, Lucas. I said, I know. She said, I never meant to hurt you. I said, but you did. She looked down and cried quietly. I stayed silent. She said, do you think we can try again? I shook my head slowly. I said, no, I cannot go back. She said, is there nothing left? I said, there is nothing left for me there. Lucas said, you seem peaceful now. I said, I'm learning what peace feels like. Emma said, you deserve that. I said, I did not believe it before. Lucas said, now you do. I said, yes, I finally do. Madison said, I lost everything because of my choices. I said, you lost me long before that. She said, I wish I had seen it earlier. I said we both ignored what was in front of us. I stood up from the table and looked at her one last time. I said, I forgive you, but I am not coming back. She whispered my name again. I did not answer her anymore. I walked out of the cafe and felt the air hit my face. It felt different from before, like I was finally breathing again. I thought about everything that had happened between us. I realized it was never just one mistake. It was thousands of small moments that slowly broke me. I kept walking through the street without looking back. I felt lighter, even though everything hurt. I knew I had made the right choice for myself. Lucas called me later that night. I answered and told him everything was over. He said, are you okay now? I said, I am not broken anymore. Emma texted me asking if I wanted coffee. I said, yes, I would like that. I met Emma later that week at a small cafe. She said, you look calmer now. I said, I feel calmer now. She said, that is good to hear. I said, I am learning how to be alone without feeling empty. She said, that is not easy. I said, it is not, but it is worth it. Lucas said, you're different now. I said, I am finally myself again. Madison texted me once more asking to talk. I did not reply. I knew replying would only reopen old pain. I was not willing to go back there. I sat alone that night thinking about everything. For the first time, I felt truly free. I realized freedom was not about leaving someone. It was about choosing myself without guilt. I thought about Madison one last time. I felt no anger, only distance and understanding. I hoped she would learn from it someday. But I knew I could not be the one to teach her anymore. I stood by my window and watched the city lights. Everything felt quiet inside me. I whispered to myself that I was finally okay. I was no longer the person who begged to be chosen. I was the person who chose himself. I closed my eyes and felt peace for the first time in years. I did not know what comes next, but I was ready for it. I finally understood that losing someone who never valued you is not a loss. It is a return to yourself. I walked away from everything and felt whole again. Finally, I was free again, completely.